fine. The question arises, if when somebody becomes enlightened, say when you become enlightened, following the Gade, Para Samhita Bodhisattva, then you go into say you will go into experiencing the ultimate reality in its bare form, which means the ultimate analysis. So in this experience, you see that all conventionalities dissolve. You experience the ultimate reality alone. So if that's the case, then how can the Buddha, you as a Buddha, eventually you are to benefit the beings. After becoming Buddha, how are you going to benefit beings? Because you are submerged into the ultimate reality. And how can you really benefit the sentient beings by turning the wheel of dharma and so forth? How do you do these things? So 35. Just as a wish-fulfilling gem and a wish-granting tree fulfill all wishes, likewise through the power of the prayers, the enlightened body of the victor here referred to the Buddha, appears to the disciples. Okay, so at that point, when the Buddha accomplished Gade, Para Samhita Bodhisattva, when consummated in the state of accumulating merits, and consummated or completed the accumulation of merit and accumulation of the wisdom, then while the Buddha is immersed into this non-dual experience of emptiness, what happens is just like, say, how the Buddhas benefit sentient beings is just like the wish-fulfilling gem. So the wish-fulfilling gem in the olden times, there's a description of a wish-fulfilling gem where you say prayers, your prayers will be answered by this gem. So this may not necessarily have the thought, intent, and so forth. Okay, this person prayed to me, I will grant the prayers and so forth. But the wishes are fulfilled. And likewise, through the power of prayers, the enlightened body of the victor appears to the disciples. So because that the Buddha, when following this path, Gade, Para Samgate, till that point, the Buddha may say Buddha perfected in, say, 6 perfections plus 4, making 10 perfections. Say practice of generosity, perfected in generosity, practice of morality, practice of patience, enthusiasm, samadhi, wisdom. 6 plus 4, skillfulness, aspiration prayers, and then power, and the discriminatory wisdom. 4. 6 plus 4 perfections, total 10. So because having perfected in these 10 perfections, so when you become fully enlightened, because of perfection, having achieved perfection, 10 perfections, what happens is that you become like a wish-fulfilling gem. Or you are perfecting your prayers, right? That I may be able to benefit all sentient beings. So, because of which, that the beings who need your help, the beings who are karmically connected, beings who are prepared from their side in terms of cleansing the negativities, in terms of cleansing the negative karmas, and having created the ring. From the Buddha side, the hook is forever ready. So when you are ready, the Buddhas, without any intention, will appear in front of you according to your need. So it says, the enlightened body of the victor appears to the disciples. Not that, okay, now okay, so now say my friends in France, they are asking me to come, I've received visa, so this kind of problem. No, it's just instant. Spontaneously, the Buddha will appear right in front of the disciples. So this is how the Buddha's deeds perfected in spontaneity. The spontaneity is there. So where you can, when you become Buddha, when each one of us, when we become Buddha, you're the activities to benefit the beings, they are so spontaneous and simultaneous, that if there are billions of beings everywhere in different parts of space, different parts of time, there are billions, trillions of beings there who are ready to receive your benefit, you as a single being will instantly manifest yourself that number of the emanations, and you are able to teach that number of beings. You are able to benefit that number of beings in time, in space. Okay, so this is because of the very powerful prayer, the consummation of the prayer with the Buddha, which when each one of us when become Buddha, accomplished. Okay, so therefore, while the Buddha is immersed into non-dualistically, immersed into emptiness, still is able to benefit all sentient beings without any delay. Okay, so another thing that we need to keep in mind, which is very technical for us to keep in mind, is that there's the duality there. Duality meaning that when you are here in Singapore, you cannot be in India. When you're in India, you cannot be in Singapore. Likewise, when you are immersed into, when you have the ultimate analysis, when you look at things through ultimate analysis, you cannot see things through conventional analysis. When you see things through conventional analysis, you cannot see things through ultimate analysis. Okay, this is our limitation. This is our limitation before you become Buddha. Before you become Buddha, this is our limitation. In other words, when we see the one of the two truths directly, we cannot see the other truth. You're getting it? When we see one of the two truths directly, you cannot see the other truth directly. In other words, somebody who can see the two truths, conventional truth, ultimate truth, both directly, is only the Buddha. Only when you become a Buddha. Right? So whereas for all others, even if you are on the 10th ground, Bodhisattva Bhumi, 10 Bhumi Bodhisattva level, so that when you are directly immersed into emptiness, you cannot get access to the ultimate truth, conventional truth. When you are into conventional truth, you cannot have direct access to the ultimate truth. So the getting direct access, this is qualification. Direct access to the two truths for a non-enlightened, for a non-Buddha is consecutive, not simultaneous. Whereas for the Buddhas, these two are always happening simultaneous. Because of which, while the Buddha is immersed into emptiness, that he can never be affected by any external factors. At the same time, because of having direct access to the conventional truth, he is able to benefit all sentient beings simultaneously. Right? And on top of that, okay, there's somebody who should be asking one question. What's the question? Yes. Which end? What's the question? The mic? Yes.
What exactly is cognitive obscurations?
Okay, what exactly is cognitive obscurations? So when each one of us, when we become Buddha, we have to eradicate not only the afflictive obscurations, we have to eradicate the cognitive obscurations also. So what is afflictive obscurations? That is pretty easy now. So contaminated karmas, for example, 10 non-virtuous karmas, 3 physical, 4 verbal, 3 mental. Okay, this is pretty, not perfectly easy, but pretty easy for us to identify what the negative karmas are: stealing, killing, and so forth. Okay, 1. Then afflictive, number 2 is afflictions, contaminated karmas, afflictions such as the manifest state of anger, attachment, jealousy, competitiveness, and so forth. And we can also include the fear, Okay, so we see that this is something manifest. Then self-grasping ignorance, active seeds, contaminated karmas, afflictions, and active seeds. Active seeds meaning, so here when you are in TPC now, nobody's angry. Nobody's angry, but when you go back home, right? You go back home, and then what happens? That particularly you are a little hungry. When you're hungry, be careful. Right? When hungry, somebody says, even the small thing, it can easily make you irritated. Easily, right? Okay, this is what we need to take care of. Okay, let's say that you are not angry here, but when you leave the spot No, anything can trigger anger within us. Where did this anger come from? From where? Right? From where? When you're on TPC, very calm, peaceful, smiling, laughing, and then the moment you left, then the small thing can easily trigger anger. Where it came from? It came from where? Right? So maybe earlier, a few days ago, anger was there, and then suddenly there was a break. There's no break, there's a continuation. What is that? What continues anger? A few days anger, a few days ago anger, and then the anger after leaving this place, there's a continuum. What's the continuum? Seeds, active seeds, in the form of imprint, in the form of imprint. Say the apple seed, you put it on the table. It will never germinate on its own. It will never germinate on its own, right? And then when you put it on the soil, then it starts germinating. So this seed has the capacity to give rise to the apple tree. So likewise, we may not have the manifest afflictions at times, but the seed is always there until we get rid of this seed. You're getting it? So that is known as active seeds. So afflictive obscurations consist of three parts. Generally speaking, the text would speak about two: afflictions and contaminant karmas, generally speaking. But we have to also include the active seeds of the contaminant karmas and afflictions. You're getting it? And all these three. So this is afflictive obscurations. And then within this affliction, self-grasping ignorance is also included. Self-grasping, although how we describe it as all these three things, they boil down to self-grasping ignorance, meaning that self-grasping ignorance is the one which triggers all these three things. But self-grasping ignorance is actually a part of affliction. For example, we speak about the Prime Minister and the ministers. The Prime Minister, is he or she minister or not? Yes. So while he or she is counted, he is seen as separate from the ministers because he is the prime main. Likewise, the self-grasping ignorance is affliction, but because it is the prime affliction, it is counted as separate. Right? Otherwise, it is a part of affliction. Don't forget it. This one. Now, the second question is: okay, when I become enlightened, when each one of us become enlightened, not only that we eradicate the afflictive obscurations, we also have to eradicate cognitive obscurations. Okay, so what analogy we gave for the cognitive obscuration? The smell of the garlic, not the garlic. Garlic is the analogy for afflictive obscurations, and the smell of the garlic. After removing the garlic, after removing, washing so well, and still the smell is left, that is the analogy given for the cognitive obscurations. Now the question is, smell of garlic is just an analogy. We still did not identify what the cognitive obscuration is. Right? So the question is, what exactly is cognitive obscuration? You're getting what exactly is cognitive obscuration? How this cognitive obscuration stops us from becoming Buddha, right? How it stops us from becoming Buddha. In other words, how it stops us from benefiting all sentient beings simultaneously. Okay, this is a very serious question. Today is what day? Day 5th or 6th or 7th or 8th, 9th, 10th? 6th, not 8th, right? It should be on the 8th. Okay, never mind. Okay, we'll do it here. 6 is fine. Okay, which means that you're pretty fast, right? Quite a fast learner. Okay, now the point is, for this we need to know what is known as, we need to distinguish between what is known as, say, the object of appearance and object of apprehension. Right? We need to distinguish between the two things. Object of appearance and object of apprehension. Apprehension, object of apprehension, object of engagement, same. Right? So distinction should be made between object of appearance on the one hand, and then object of apprehension or object of engagement. These two are same. On the other hand, we need to make a distinction between these two. Only then we will be able to understand what exactly is cognitive obscurations. You getting it? Okay. Now, How many of you had heavy lunch? Heavy lunch. Okay, I hope you have not just half lunch is good. Heavy lunch, the topic is going to be a little technical, and heavy lunch will make you sleep. Okay, let's say fine. Okay, let's say you put on a blue pair of glasses. You put on a blue glasses, and this is pinkish pink. Okay, with the blue glasses on, I asked you, what's the color of this flower? Blue and pink, red mixed together. What's the color? Purple. Okay, tell me, what's the color? Imagine that you put on the blue glasses. Oh, the purple flower is your answer. You're getting it? A purple flower. Okay, purple color. This is your answer. Now, and if you know that you have put on the blue glasses, then okay. So the purple is the blue plus what color makes the purple? Pink or red. That makes it the purple. So maybe that is pink or red. Right? Okay. Now, you put on the same blue glass and go to Mount Kailash. And what do you see? Mount Kailash. Blue Mount Kailash. Right? Blue snow. You'll see blue snow. Okay. How many of you believe that, oh, the snow is blue here in Mount Kailash? How many of you believe that? Nobody. Right? You know that although the snow appears as blue to me, but it's not. You're getting it? Snow is white, it's not blue. Blue is what? Just appearance. You agree with me? The blue is just the appearance. But from your mind, you know that it's white. How many of you know that? How many of you with the blue glasses, you go there, the snow appears as blue and you know that it's white? How many of you? All of us. Okay. Now here, with this, what we need to keep in mind is the object, your mind interacts with the object. You're getting it? And then you see Mount Kailash, blue Mount Kailash, white Mount Kailash, whatever. So is when your mind interacts with the object. Your mind is a subject, and the snow mountain, the Mount Kailash is the object. Okay, so your subject interacts with the object, then all the emotions, whatever, arise. Okay, so when your mind interacts with the object, okay, there are few people. They got in? They went up? Went up? Okay, this means they are hearing. Okay, good. Now, say that when you, with the blue glasses on, when you look at Mount Kailash, you see Mount Kailash is invariably, you will see Mount Kailash as blue. So there, your mind as a subject is interacting with the object. Which object? Mount Kailash as the object. So your mind, subject, interacts with the object. So in this interaction, there are two things happen. Don't forget it. In this interaction, when the subject interacts with the object, there are two things happening. In other words, two activities happening. One is activity pertaining to the object, other activity pertaining to the subject. Activity pertaining to the object is what is known as appearance. The object appears to our mind. You're getting it? The object appears to your mind, or your mind appears to the object? Right? Object appears, your mind appears to the object is a terrible English. Right? So the object appears to the mind, which means the appearance, act of appearing is the act related to the object, not the subject. And the mind engages with the object. The object does not engage with the subject. The mind engages with the object. The mind apprehends the object. The mind engages with the object. You're getting it? So, act of apprehension, act of engaging. This is the activity or the act related to the subject. Very good. Okay, so we see that in this act of interaction between the object and subject, there are two things happening. One is the object appearing to the subject, and the subject engaging with the object. Two things. You're getting it? Okay. So when you say that, yes, the snow appears as blue, but the snow is not blue. When you say that, say the snow appears to your mind, and your mind engages with the snow, right? And let's say you as a person engages with the snow. Okay, the snow appears as what? Blue or white? Blue. That is erroneous or that is valid? Erroneous. And you said that no, the snow is white. Your engagement with the snow, you engage with the snow as white or blue? As white. It is valid or this is erroneous? Valid. Okay. Now with this, when your mind interacts with the object, there are two acts happening. One is the act of appearance and the act of engagement. So of the two, in the case of you, knowing that the snow is never blue and the snow appears as blue, which of the two act is erroneous? Both? Or both are correct, both are erroneous, or one is correct, one is erroneous? What? One is correct and one is erroneous. Which one is erroneous? Appearance is erroneous and apprehension is correct. You're getting it? Okay. When the appearance is erroneous, when the apprehension is correct, you call it just a mistaken mind. A mind where the appearance is incorrect, this mind is known as mistaken mind. In Tibetan, it is tulshe. In Tibetan, it is known as tulshe. Whereas your mind is erroneous pertaining to the engagement, act of engaging with the object. If your mind is erroneous with respect to the act of engaging, it is known as deceptive mind. Deceptive mind, and in Tibetan it is lokshe. And English, if somebody asks me, so in English there's no difference between mistaken mind and deceptive mind, you are right, I agree with you, but there's no choice. In English there is this concept was not originally developed in English. It was developed in Sanskrit, right? Later translated into Tibetan. So therefore we have to use some English words. So we, from our side, what we should know is that mind can be erroneous in two ways. Mind can be erroneous with respect to the act of appearance and with respect to the act of engagement. You're getting it? So if the mind is erroneous with respect to the appearance, right, still the mind may not be erroneous with respect to the act of engagement. But if the mind is erroneous with respect to the act of engagement, it is always mistaken with the act of appearance. Okay, two things, keep this in mind. If the mind is mistaken with the act of appearance, it may not be mistaken with the act of engagement. If the mind is erroneous with respect to the act of engagement, it is also mistaken with respect to the act of appearance. Okay, example would be, if somebody has stolen 10 Sing dollars, may not necessarily steal 1,000 Sing dollars. If somebody has stolen 1,000 Sing dollars, 100% is stolen 10 Sing dollars. You understand it? It is very simple. You got it? Can you imagine as somebody, seems like your mind is, the computer is hanging now. After the lunch? Because of lunch? Okay. So, okay. If you are mistaken with respect to the act of appearance, it is you are mistaken with the act of engagement. Right? Not right. Huh? Okay, what is that point where you said not necessary? Huh? Engagement. Very good. If the mind is mistaken with respect to the act of appearance, it may not be mistaken with respect to the act of engagement. Whereas if the mind is mistaken with respect to act of engagement, it should not be necessarily to be mistaken with respect to act of appearance. Correct? Not correct? Huh? Huh? Okay. Okay. If the mind is mistaken with respect to act of engagement, it should necessarily be mistaken with respect to act of appearance. Yes? No? Yes. Good. Okay, very good. Now, what exactly does it mean by? Hey, what exactly does it mean by cognitive obscurations? You're getting it? Okay, let's say we all realize emptiness this afternoon after heavy lunch. Right? we realize emptiness, right? Amazing. Usually it doesn't happen after heavy lunch. So now here in Singapore, after heavy lunch, we have the, yes, understood emptiness, right? Everything is empty of objective existence. So you are into the ultimate analysis. You know that nothing exists objectively, 100%. Everything what appears, okay, nothing exists objectively. Then what do? You come out of the meditation. You come out of the meditation, you switch your ultimate analysis to conventional analysis. The moment you switch to conventional analysis, right, then you see things, continue to see things as objectively real, but you don't believe in it. You already know that the snow is never blue, right? But it appears as blue. Likewise, you see things as, the moment you switch to the conventional analysis, you start seeing things as objectively real. You're getting it? Objectively real. Then, what are you going to say? No, this is not true. This is not true. I know that things don't exist objectively, but they appear as objectively real. So tell me, so when you, now, after seeing emptiness so clearly, paragate, right? You are into paragate, from there you switch to the conventional analysis. I'll show you this flower. Okay, how does this flower appear to you, objectively, subjectively? Objectively. So appearance-wise, it's still mistaken. You're getting it? Appearance-wise, still mistaken. Now, do you, oh yes, the flower does exist objectively, or no, it is just deceptive? How would you see this? No, it is deceptive. So which means that you are erroneous with respect to the act of appearance of the object, but you are not mistaken with respect to the act of engagement. Okay, so tell me, when does this the error in the act of engagement stop? When does it stop completely? Anyone? When does the error in the act of engagement with the objective existence stop? When you see emptiness, directly, which means when you reach the gate, paragate, or when you become arahat, or when you become Buddha. Tell me which stage? Huh? Okay, some say path of seeing, this is paragate, then parasamgate. Some say parasamgate, then somebody who has to say Bodhisattva, and then all is there. So when? Okay, okay, let's see. When you go to Paragade, you see emptiness directly, right? You see emptiness directly, all the conventional objective appearance stops, for sure. But again, you have to come back to Parasangate. When you come back, again you have to switch to the conventional analysis. When you switch conventional analysis, again things appear as objective real. So the error in the appearance happens. So therefore, not only the error happens, tell me, what is that state known as when you eradicate the self-grasping ignorance completely? Bodhisattva, Bodhisattva, which means you have to become Buddha. Huh? Or he's telling you, you should become Buddha, you should become Arahat, you should become Arya, what? Or tell me, when you eradicate the self-grasping ignorance completely, you become Arya. Arya beings. Raise your hands. One. Okay. When you eradicate self-grasping ignorance completely, you become Buddha. Raise your hands. Okay. When you eradicate self-grasping ignorance completely, this is a point when you are free from samsara, you become Arahat. Raise your hands. Okay. So, the point is that you become Arahat. When you eradicate self-grasping ignorance completely, you become Arahat. Right? Okay. Arahat. Arahat as opposed to? Very good. Arahat as opposed to samsaric beings. Arya as opposed to? Ordinary common being. Very good. And then what else? Buddha as opposed to? Very good. Oh, Yansullah. Thank you. Okay, so these three things we need to know. Say, Arahats as opposed to samsaric beings. Meaning, the beings who are yet to achieve Arahat, they are known as samsaric beings. Aryas as opposed to ordinary beings or the common beings. Meaning, Arya means somebody who has seen emptiness directly. Right? And ordinary beings means those who have not seen emptiness directly. And the Buddhas as opposed to sentient beings. Buddha is the one who is fully awakened, and all others who are not fully awakened are known as sentient beings. So the opposites, we must know these opposites. You getting it? Okay. Now the question back. The question is, when you eradicate self-grasping ignorance, okay, self-grasping ignorance is mistaken with respect to what? Self-grasping ignorance is mistaken with respect to the appearance of the object, or with by the way, tell me, self-grasping ignorance, is it ignorance or not? Of course, by the very label is very easy. It is ignorance. Ignorance means it is erroneous. Yes, no. Yes, if it is erroneous, it should be erroneous in one of these two ways. Both or one of these two ways. It is erroneous with respect to the act of appearance, or with respect to the act of engagement. Tell me, self-grasping ignorance is erroneous with respect to which of the two? Huh? Engagement, not the appearance. If both, you say both. Don't just say engagement. Right? Okay, self-grasping ignorance is mistaken with respect to appearance as well as the engagement. So when you eradicate this, you achieve the state of arahatship. You become arahat. Arahat meaning somebody who has already liberated from samsara. Somebody liberated from samsara. You getting it? Okay. Now tell me, arahat, not yet Buddhahood, somebody who achieves arahatship, but not yet Buddhahood. So that person, does he or she, but you tell me, arahats, are they always males or always females? Huh? It doesn't matter. Males can also become arahats, females are all can become. What about the Buddhas? Doesn't matter. That also doesn't matter. So males can also become Buddhas, females also become Buddhas, 100% correct, right? And some, we say that, to become Buddha, it is only you become a male, that you can become Buddha in the form of female, then this is not true, right? Okay, likewise arahatship. Now the question is, when somebody becomes arahat, what is the unique feature of somebody becoming arahat? Tell me. When is somebody referred to as arahat? What is that quality? Huh? Somebody who has transcended sorrow. How do we know that somebody has transcended sorrow? Sihong? Somebody who has seen emptiness directly. You agree? When somebody sees emptiness directly, you have achieved arahatship. Yes? Not necessary? Okay, not necessary. So, say it's a part of seeing. When you see emptiness directly, you are reach the path of seeing. So Arahat is path of no more learning. Path of seeing, path of meditation, path of no more. There are 2 steps more to go. Okay, now tell me, what is the distinctive feature of somebody becoming Arahat? Huh? Somebody who is freed from afflictions. Very good. Anyone else? Somebody who has eradicated this self-grasping ignorance. This is the perfect answer that makes me very happy. Right? Okay, when you say somebody who is freed from samsara, okay, that's good answer, 100% correct, but I'm not too happy. Not too happy meaning that this is not what I'm really looking for. I want something very precise so that everybody knows that, okay, for to acquire this, for to get the enrollment in NSU, NUS, you need 90%, right? And like this, right? You have to qualify. Don't just say you have to qualify. You have to qualify, yes, but what percent it qualifies? 90%. When you eradicate self-grasping ignorance, then you have become Arahat. Right? Okay, this point. Now, when you become Arahat, you have already eradicated self-grasping ignorance. You're getting it? So you have already eradicated the error with respect to appearance? No. Engagement. Error with respect to your mind engaging with the objectively existent phenomena. Okay, now tell me, can you imagine an Arahat who is not yet a Buddha? Can you just give an example? Any idea? How many of you have read Heart Sutra? Oh, Shariputra. Very good, thank you. Let's say Shariputra. Shariputra, he's already an Arahat. Do you think that his mind engages with things that are objectively real? When he sees this flower, he would say, oh, there's an objectively existent flower. Yes, no. No. So his engagement with the flower is not erroneous. But when you look at this, how will this flower appear to Shariputra? As objectively real or as subjectively real? Objectively real. It still continues to appear as objectively real, but he views this as subjectively real. He engages with the flower to be subjectively real, but the flower appears as objectively real. You're getting it? Okay. So now for Shariputra, for an Arahat who is not a Buddha, what is the error? The mind, when it engages with the flower, what is the error? Error with respect to appearance. You're getting it? That error is the cognitive obscuration. That error stops him from seeing all phenomena simultaneously. That error. You're getting it? Error with respect to the appearance of the object to be objectively real. That is the error which is to be identified as cognitive obscuration. Because of this, he or she is not able to see all phenomena simultaneously. You getting it? Okay. You want to go a little more than this? Right? You want to go a little more than this? And how, if the object appears objectively real, then it stops you from seeing all phenomena. How? This is the next question. Do you want to go to this, or you want to do it after your food dissolves a little bit? After the food dissolves a little bit? Right? Okay, let's wait till that point. Right? Because I could still that with your stomach is full. Okay, so now page 7, stanza 36. Again, which end you should remind me when the food is dissolved to some extent, digested. Okay. Huh? Vision, be kind to me. Right?
Wisely.
Yeah, wisely kind. Yeah. Okay, 36. Now, another example given is, say that when you become Buddha, when each one of us, when we become Buddha, our mind will be, okay, this is what I was about to say. Say that when we become Buddha, we get access to the two truths directly. Only when we become Buddha, we get access to the two truths directly, simultaneously. Simultaneously, you get access to the two truths directly. Whereas for others, for non-Buddhas, gate, parasamgate, before Bodhisattva, right? All those who are non-Buddhas, if they are directly having direct access to ultimate truth, you are cut off from the conventional truth. If you're directly having access to conventional truth, you're not having access to the direct access to ultimate truth. So direct access, you cannot have both simultaneously for non-Buddhas, for sentient beings. Okay, now the point is that, say, because that you have perfected, finally what's the purpose of become Buddha? To benefit all beings. To benefit all beings, right? To benefit all beings, you should be actively involved to benefit beings. But you are immersed into emptiness. So you cannot be actively involved to benefit beings. So that, don't worry, at that point you become like a wish-fulfilling gem. Wish-fulfilling gem is not actively thinking, I should benefit this person, right? It's very naturally happening. Likewise, when each one of us, when we become Buddhas, then we become like a wish-fulfilling gem, where you can manifest yourself innumerable times, instantly, simultaneously, for all the beings who are karmically connected with you or who are ready to receive your benefit. Okay, another example given is stanza 36. For example, when a Garutika healer who empowered the healing cane has passed away, that cane can pacify poison and the like long after the healer's death. Say the Garutika healer, meaning that somebody in the olden times, there are many people who are healers, right? And say they consecrate the cane, right? They consecrate the cane and bless the cane so that he or she uses the cane to heal other people. So even the healer himself dies, so the cane is left. So this cane is consecrated and blessed, and somebody else uses the same cane, it will continue to benefit the beings. Although the cane does not have the intention, okay, I should continue to benefit other people, although it does not have the intention, but because it is already blessed, it continues to serve to heal others. Likewise, when each one of us become Buddha, we become like the, say, Garutika's healing cane and the wish fulfillment gem. 37 or 36, for example, when a Garutika healer who empowered or consecrated or blessed the healing cane and he passed away. The cane, even after that, the cane can pacify poison and the like long after the healer's death. 37. Similarly, when a Bodhisattva has passed into Nirvana, after setting the reliquary of a victor, by conforming to the Bodhisattva's conduct, he still performs all deeds. Okay, same. The Bodhisattva. Similar Bodhisattva, say Bodhisattva who has passed into Nirvana. Bodhisattva passed into Nirvana, we can think of that in two ways. One, the Bodhisattva on the level of gate or paragate or parasamgate before achieving Buddhahood, right? At that level. And still some way to go to achieve Buddhahood. At that point, if the Bodhisattva dies, we call it the Bodhisattva passed into Nirvana. At that point, whatever the Bodhisattva has blessed, the place and his items or her items, whatever, blessed, and even if the Bodhisattva passed away, these items will continue to the benefit and the bless other people. One. Another way of understanding this is the Bodhisattva at the level of parasangate. What is that path? Parasangate. Path of meditation, very good. Gate, paragate is part of seeing. What is gate? The first gate, path of accumulation. Second gate, path of preparation. Paragate, path of seeing. Parasangate, path of meditation. Bodhisattva, no more learning. Okay, in the context of the Mahayana practice, so these 5 paths. Simply because somebody is in Bodhisattva doesn't mean that the person is a Buddha. Right? That gate, paragate, parasamgate, Bodhisattva, this has to be thought of, this has to be understood in 3 different contexts. Mahayana context, Mahayana doesn't mean Chinese Mahayana. It simply means in the context of the practitioners who aspire to become Buddha for the benefit of all sentient beings, right? In this context. So in this context, when you reach the Bodhisattva, you are a Buddha. Whereas in the context of the Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas, they also have Gate, Paragate, Parasambhade Buddhas, the same. So when they reach the Bodhisattva, in the context of the Shravakas and Pratik Buddhas, they are not Buddhas, they are just Arahats. Don't mix up these two things. Okay. So therefore, it is known as the 3 into 5 equals 15 parts. 3 into 5. 5 parts into 3. What are the 3? 3 vehicles. Right? Shravaka vehicle, Pratik Buddha vehicle, and the Bodhisattva vehicle, or the Mahayana vehicle. 3. So, 3, each one of them having 5 each, making 5 into 3 is 15. This is known as the 15 parts. Okay. So now the second version of understanding this, stanza 37 is, the Bodhisattva, when there is the Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate. Parasangate, again we see that within that there are 10 divisions. I'm not going to go into detail. 10 divisions, 10 bhumis. So when you reach the 10 bhumi, from there, then you go to the next step, which is 10 bhumi, and then you go to the next step. What is that? Bodhisattva, how you become Buddha. Okay, Bodhisattva on the last stage. Last 10 bhumi. From there, then when they move to the next part, next step, similarly, when a Bodhisattva has passed into Nirvana, this second version would have that passed to Nirvana, meaning when he or she leaves the Bodhisattva state, moves to the Bodhisattva. What happens? After setting up the reliquary of a victor. Reliquary of victor meaning that, say, he himself or she herself becomes a Buddha. Victor means a Buddha. Reliquary is like a stupa, right? Reliquary is like a stupa of the Buddha, meaning that it's metaphorical. One, you can take it as a literal, to mean it literal. That is the first interpretation. Say before he or she passed away, he or she makes the Buddha's reliquaries, Buddha's, say, the stupas, and live there for you, and then he or she dies. So this reliquary will continue to bless the beings. 1. Number 2, another understanding is that this Buddha, he or she, not Buddha, Bodhisattva, 10 bhumi, he or she, the next moment, he or she leaves this state and moves to the next state, we call it moving into the Nirvana. This is one way. Nirvana, then what this person becomes? Person becomes Buddha. So that is the Buddha's reliquary in a metaphorical form. Right? You become a Buddha. In other words, this is the best of the reliquary. When you become a Buddha, this is the best of the reliquary. So there, by conforming to the Bodhisattva's conduct. So how you become a Buddha? By conforming to the practice of the Bodhisattvas. He or she still performs all deeds, meaning that at that point, although you are deeply immersed in the emptiness all the time, still you continue to benefit all sentient beings. So the same stanza can be understood in 2 ways. One in a literal form, other in the metaphorical form. Right? Okay. So literal form meaning that the Bodhisattva, he or she builds a stupa. Stupa where he or she puts the Buddha's relics, and then consecrate this, and then he or she passes away. So this reliquary continues to benefit the beings. So people will feel grateful to the Bodhisattva. Bodhisattva who passed away. Oh, he or she made this, he or she gave us opportunity to continue to accumulate merit. Right? You getting it? So this is how it says that he still performs all deeds of benefiting beings. Okay, so the point here is, what is being said here is that what? Is that even if when you become Buddha, it is not that you will become a very passive, you will stop benefiting sentient beings. This is not the point. Even if you become Buddha, you can continue to benefit beings even more so than what the Bodhisattvas do. Okay. It is because of this many people have a total misunderstanding, right? Misunderstanding, saying that the Bodhisattvas are greater than the Buddhas. And you say, how? Because the Buddhas, they left the samsara. Bodhisattvas are the ones who, out of compassion, they come back to samsara. This is some total the indication of the naivety of the person into the Buddhist concept. Right? So the Bodhisattva, by the very definition, Bodhisattva. Sattva is a courageous one. Bodhi is enlightenment. Someone who is so courageous to commit oneself to become Buddha. And commit oneself to become Buddha and not become Buddha, what's the point? Right? So they say the Bodhisattvas is greater than the Buddhas. This is totally wrong. Right? So Bodhisattvas, because that they are not fully awakened yet, and particularly when you are the first two, gate, you are still under the sway of the contaminant karma. So because which contaminant karmas will direct where you are going to take birth. So therefore it says that Bodhisattvas come back to samsara. Right? Otherwise, even the Buddhas, they benefit the sentient beings. Say the Bodhisattvas, they may be able to benefit, say, 10%. Buddhas, they benefit beings 100% simultaneously. This is the benefit of becoming a Buddha. Okay. 38. How can offerings made with something lacking of mind give rise to results? Whether alive or has passed to nirvana, it has been proclaimed the same. Okay. So, for example, say there's the Buddha statue, or say we go to where? Bodh Gaya, and we go to Bodh Gaya. And how many of you have been to the main temple there in Bodh Gaya, next to the Bodhi tree, the main temple? Most of us, we went there. So when we went there, so when you go there, the main temple, so it says, how can offerings made to something lacking a mind? This temple does not have a mind. Right? This temple is a blessed object. It does not have a mind. How can you make, and then you make offerings to the temple, right? You make offerings to the temple. How can offerings made to something like your mind give rise to results, right? This is the question asked in a way to tell you that even if somebody does not have the active intention, oh, they are making offerings to me, so I should benefit them. Even this active intention is not there with the stupa and so forth. But if you engage in the act of making offerings, you reap the benefit of accumulated merit and so forth, blessings and so forth. You agree with me? Likewise, when you become Buddha, you will, even though you don't have the active thought process, oh, okay, I should benefit all sentient beings, right? When you become enlightened, right? When you become enlightened, okay, what are the Singaporeans doing? I have to go to benefit sentient beings, particularly in Singapore. These thought processes are not required, right? Even without the active thought processes, even the inanimate blessed objects can benefit the beings. So when you become a Buddha, of course, even without these inactive thought processes, you'll continue to benefit beings simultaneously, right? In the most effective way. Okay, whether alive or has passed into nirvana, it has been proclaimed the same. So in this connection, I also like to share with you one thing, the Buddha's relics. Buddha's relics, they are so precious. Don't forget it. So, should you ever come to Delhi, because that you coming to Delhi is very rare, right? And in Delhi, I always tell people that the most holy thing that you can find in Delhi, the most something worthwhile, which is most precious thing that you can find in Delhi is the Buddha's relics in National Museum. Mondays close. Otherwise, from Tuesday through to Sunday, open from 9 till 5, right? So whenever you happen to be there, and if you happen to be there for about at least a day, at least like 12 hours, in Delhi, I would suggest you to pay respect. So what it says here is that whether alive or has passed into nirvana, it has been proclaimed the same benefit, right? So the Buddha himself said it very clearly. In fact, the Buddha, when each one of us, when we become Buddha, we do not have this, but we have this very gross body, sickness, aging, death, right? So when somebody becomes Buddha, we don't have this body. Okay, so despite the Buddha being freed of the very gross body, but out of compassion for the beings of the future generations, he deliberately left what is known as the relics right? And the relics may appear as in some cases bones, in some cases the like a marble, like a pearl, various things are there. Okay. So now for the Buddha's relics, by the way, relics, if I die, my ordinary body, right, is also a relic. If a dog dies, it's also the relic of the dog. Right? Relic doesn't mean anything holy. Relic of a Buddha is holy. Right? This is the distinction that you have to make. Oh, it's a relic of a dog, oh, very holy, because of these labeled relics. Right? So just... Okay, so the point is that the relics of the Buddha is holy. Right? And the others, this is not my job. My job is to tell the Buddha's relic, because it is... right? I'm not being sarcastic. There are some highly acclaimed, really, really great practitioners, relics. Okay, even to think about this enlightenment is very inspiring. But for Buddha, what I'm talking about is the Buddha, right? So it says that Buddha's relics, the Buddha deliberately left these in the form of the relics, some in the form of the bones, some in the form of the pearl relics and so forth. The idea is, what the Buddha said is that, okay, in the future, say the future beings who are not going to see me directly, right? Who are not going to see me directly. And one thing, before I go any further, for the Buddha, there's no passing away. When somebody becomes a Buddha, there's no death. Don't forget it. There's no death. Right? Okay. Say the moon. Say water body. And if there is if I hold this flower on top of the water body, clean water body, what will happen? You see the reflection of the flower down there, yes? When I remove the flower, what happens to the reflection? Reflection disappears. You getting it? Okay. Now, say this reflection, and even if the flower is there, but the water disappears, again the reflection disappears. What is there? The flower disappears, reflection disappears. So, the reflection is dependent on two factors, the water body and the flower. Two factors. Likewise, say the Buddha, for the Buddha to appear as a living Buddha, it requires two factors, the Buddha and your karma, our karma. When these two things are combined together, then you will see the Buddha as a living Buddha, right? Particularly when you reach to a great level, to a great level of spiritual realizations, even these, the paintings, they will simply directly come out in a living form and will start giving teachings to us when you reach a very high level. So therefore, the Buddhas are always, the Buddha never dies. Don't forget it. So it's not just Buddha Shakyamuni. Even each one of us, when we become Buddhas, we will never die. But the Buddha Shakyamuni appeared, the passing away. What happened? Flower and the water disappears. Right? Water disappears. What happens to the image of the flower? Because the water is not there, image of flowers also disappears. So image of the flower is analogous to the appearance of the Buddha. And because our karma dissolves, our karma exhausts, then the image of the flower, our karma, the water body like our karma finishes, then the image stops. But the Buddha is there, the flower is still there, the moon is still there. Whether the water dries up, the moon is still there, but the reflection of the moon stops. It doesn't mean the Buddha dies. Buddha is still there. Buddha is with us, right? The point is that we getting direct access to the Buddha stops. So, to help those beings in the future, the Buddha Shakyamuni very clearly indicated that I will leave relics for them. So these relics, then the Buddha made a very clear statement that in future, should the beings of the future, if they pray to these relics, the way somebody would pray to me when I'm alive, right? The benefit, the merit that one is going to accrue is going to be same. Right? But if they pray to the Buddha relics, the same praise to the living Buddha, the merit that you're going to get is the same. So therefore, in future, if you ever happen to be in Delhi for like more than 8 hours, 10, 12 hours like this, I would very much suggest you to pay respect, go to pay respect to the relics of the Buddha Shakyamuni. Okay. Yes, till 3:30. Okay. Okay, 39. According to scripture, results accrue, whether truly or conventionally, similar to the way a truly existent Buddha gives results. Okay, so you are what? Prasangikas? Okay. Tired Prasangikas. Okay, you are Prasangikas, and I'm the realist. And the realist meaning those people who believe in objective existence, and you reject objective existence. So what I would say is that, okay, for us the Buddha exists, for us the Buddha exists objectively. So particularly 2,500 years ago, the Buddha Shakyamuni appeared on this earth, and he exists objectively, and for you said Buddha does not exist objectively. This is your view. You agree? So what I would say is that, yes, the Buddha exists objectively 2,500 years ago, right? So now you would say that, okay, fine. So what I'm arguing is that if the Buddha does not exist objectively, then how can the Buddha benefit the beings? Right? So you would say that the way you believe a truly existent Buddha gives results. It is my position. My position which you are quoting. You are saying that according to you, a truly existent Buddha, right, that performs benefit to sentient beings. I would say yes. So this exactly is what is happening to from your point of view as well. So let's say that they say, okay, tell me, the Buddha benefits sentient beings or not? Yes. From which point of view? Ultimate analysis, conventional analysis. Conventional analysis. So when you switch to the conventional analysis, you see that the Buddha is performing deeds. The way I see as Buddha performing deeds is objectively real, right? Where I see that, objectively existing Buddha there, and he benefits sentient beings, he went to Rajgir, give teaching House Sutra, and so many beings are benefited. So I say this, you also see the same thing from the conventional analysis point of view. So what you are saying is that the Buddha does exist. Buddha benefits beings. These things all happen, but it's happening only on the conventional level, not on the ultimate level. So whereas I see this as existing on the ultimate level. So in other words, what you are saying is that what my belief is actually happening on the conventional basis, not on the ultimate basis. So it says that the way I accept that the Buddha, truly existing Buddha, gives results, benefit to other beings, is what you see as happening on conventional level, not on the ultimate level. From that point of view, there is no contradiction that the Buddha is performing benefits to the beings is something both sides accept. What is different is one, that the realist believe that to be happening objectively, and the Prasangas believe that to be happening conventionally, subjectively. Okay, stanza 8. No, page 8. Okay, page 8, stanza 40. This is a very, very, very important part. In the monastic universities, this is studied only when you reach, 10th year or 11th year of the rigorous study of philosophy, right? And then Singaporeans, you study it on the 6th day, right? Don't say this to the monastic university members. They'll feel jealous, right? Okay, this is what they are studying only after 8th, 9th year. In many cases, 10th year, right? They study only during the 10th year. Okay, so The food digested, not digested? Are you sure? Somebody saying yes. Not digested, still, yeah, the words are coming is yes. Not digested, I will still say that, okay. You just give me the answer, it doesn't matter what answer, yes, no, it doesn't matter, I can see that. Right, just give me the answer. Okay, huh? Yeah, okay, that's good. So, okay, let's do. Okay, now, this is a very extremely important point. Okay, now we go into say the treasure store. You go to the treasure store. Within the treasure store, again there's a treasure store. You first open the door, you see the coppers, bronze, right? Bronze furniture, bronze containers, bronze the adornments, anglers, jewelries, and so forth. And you enter there and unlock the second door. You see the silver jewelry, right? You unlock the third one, you see the gold. Then you go to the fourth one, platinum, diamond. Okay, now this is going to the diamond part. This is going to the diamond part, right? Into the inner part. Okay, we are extremely fortunate. I mean it. We are so fortunate, right? People may come with propaganda, right? Enlightenment very easy. You study this, you will come how whether or not is easy, right? And then where the opportunity to actually get to this level. You are so fortunate. Okay, so what is being discussed here is, okay, finally the Buddha said that, okay, finally the Buddha said, okay, so the Buddha said, commit no evils. Accumulate as great wealth of virtues as possible. Subdue your mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. Right? Okay. What we don't want is miseries, fears and miseries. If you don't want miseries, if you don't want fears, then the Buddha said, commit no evil. Evil gives rise to miseries and fears. One. Number two, what do you want? I want the infinite happiness, if possible, infinite happiness, eternal happiness. If you want happiness, happiness comes from merit and virtues. Accumulate as great wealth of virtues as possible. Right? Okay. These two things, how can I do this? How can I stop evil? How can I accumulate virtues? My mind should be doing this. Right? And my mind is so addicted in doing evil and so weak in doing virtues. So how can I do it? Then the Buddha said, tame your mind. Let your mind listen to you. Thus far, your mind is not listening to you. Right? Your mind is like going haywire, not listening to you. Now tame your mind, make the mind listen to you, make the mind stop the evil, make the mind engage in the virtue. Tame your mind. If this is what you do, this is my teaching, right? So precious. Okay, what is the best way to tame your mind? Get rid of the self-grasping ignorance. Let your mind not grasp at things as objective real. Stop the mind from viewing things as objective real. One. Number two, stop the mind from being unkind with others. Let the mind embrace all sentient beings equally. And stop the mind from the erroneous perception of the world. Stop these two things, and that requires a tremendous taming of the mind. Tame your mind. This is the teaching of Buddha, right? And Buddha did not say empowerment is the teaching of the Buddha, right? Empowerment is so precious. Empowerment, if you are ready with these teachings, then the empowerment helps you to expedite your path. Right? I don't want to go into detail. Okay. Now, final our job is, right? Our job is what? To tame our mind. To tame our mind, to stop the mind from viewing things as objective real. Right? Okay. What do you mean by objective real? This is how we are always seeing things, always we are hearing things like this, always sensing things like this, always thinking things like this. This is how 24/7 our mind is so obsessed with seeing things as objective real. Okay, now, objective real. So in this connection, then the Buddha said, those with the view of object, those with the view of objective things will not have nirvana. Will not have nirvana. Meaning that if as long as one has the view that things exist objectively, one is never liberated. And further, the Buddha taught the 4 seals. All composite things are impermanent. What is number 2? All contaminated things are suffering nature. What is number 3? Everything is the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Okay, number 3. Everything is the nature of selflessness. If you want to be liberated, if you want to transcend sorrow, if you want to experience the ultimate peace, you have to see everything as the nature of emptiness, selflessness. Then the question arises, what do you mean by emptiness, selflessness? Precisely what is meant by selflessness? This is a question. So, there are 4 different schools. They propose different views. Selflessness means this. Selflessness means that they offer different versions of selflessness. So which is correct? Again, it's a big problem for us to solve. You're getting it? Okay. So now, what would be the different versions of selflessness? 5 levels of selflessness. 5 levels, right? 5 levels. 1, the selflessness of permanent, unitary, independent self. Selflessness of permanent, unitary, independent self. Number 1. Selflessness of permanent, unitary, independent self. Number 2, selflessness of autonomous, substantial reality. Selflessness of autonomous, substantial reality. Number 3, selflessness of external reality. Selflessness of external reality. Number 4, selflessness of true existence. Selflessness of true existence while not rejecting objective existence. Selflessness of true existence while not rejecting objective existence. Then finally, the selflessness of objective existence. Okay, let me say these 5 again. The first, selflessness of permanent, unitary, independent self. Number 2, selflessness of autonomous, substantial reality. Number 3, selflessness of external reality. Number 4, selflessness of true existence while not rejecting objective existence. Then finally, the selflessness of objective existence. Okay, objective, we write all these synonyms. Selflessness of objective / intrinsic / inherent / then independent / true / absolute / ultimate. Good. Okay, let's have these 8, these 7. What are they? The emptiness, the final one, the 5th one. Emptiness of objective / inherent / intrinsic / true / independent / absolute / ultimate. And if you want to add, say, the selflessness of existence from one's own self. Existence from one's own self. Okay, then existence, the what? The selflessness of the what? Self characteristics. selflessness of self characteristics. Okay, so there are all these synonyms we have to know. We have to know these synonyms. Okay, now what are we going to study here? From stanza 40 down. Okay, meanwhile, keep in mind that after this section, I did mention this already to you. After this section, what is this section? This section is on, there are so many versions of selflessness. So the Buddha said that everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Only if you realize this, you will go to number 4, which is transcending sorrow is absolute peace. But the selflessness that we were talking about, it has so many versions. Which is correct? Which should be the right one? Understand which will take me to freedom from samsara, freedom from miseries. Which is the one, right? So that is being analyzed, explored here, right, in form of debates. Okay, after this, then the Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra is going to explain the selflessness in general, selflessness of the person, and selflessness of phenomena. You're getting it? Selflessness of person and selflessness of phenomena. 2. And with the selflessness of phenomena, selflessness of person, first selflessness of person, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra is rejecting how the person is posited by the non-Buddhist schools. So that part is more, not really as urgent for us. And I will just give you some kind of summary of this, how the non-Buddhist philosophers, they believe in a self and how that can be rejected. I'll give you just summary and we'll just quickly browse through. In fact, we may, because of the time, we may even leave those sections rejecting non-Buddhist traditions. The idea is, what exactly is the emptiness of self that we have to study. Then after this, the selflessness of phenomena. So that will do. And then after that, the 4 mindfulnesses, satipatthana, 4 mindfulnesses. Mindfulness of the body, mindfulness of the feeling, mindfulness of the mind, and finally, the mindfulness of phenomena, right? The 4 mindfulnesses. And then finally, the benefit. The benefit, how? If you see emptiness, what is the benefit? If you don't see emptiness, what is the demerit? In what way we go through suffering? So that is how this chapter ends. Okay. And then, of course, the final end is then Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra saying a very strong prayer that may the merit that I've accumulated, through this merit, may I be able to show emptiness to all the dear sentient beings who otherwise are suffering terribly in samsara because of being blinded by the ignorance, self-grasping ignorance. Okay, so this is what we're going to do. This is the chapter. Now, stanza 40 down. Okay, so the discussion is what? Of the 5 levels of selflessness. This is when the Buddha taught that without seeing the selflessness, one is not going to be liberated. So here the Buddha doesn't mean that the self does not exist. Everything exists, we said it. Everything exists. So now the question is, what does it mean by selflessness? And the 4 different schools, they propose 5 levels of selflessness, different versions of selflessness. Which should be the correct one? You're getting it? Okay, we have to say, so there's a debate going on, particularly, say, if possible, we have to study these 5 levels of the selflessness, but don't worry here. And just follow the debates, we'll see that we will get somewhere. Okay. The debate is mainly between Prasangika and the low schools, and in some cases about the Mahayana tradition holders, meaning, who are the Mahayana tradition holders? Chidamatra, Madhyamika, or Chinese Mahayana, Tibetan Vajrayana. Okay, so mainly say, in the context of the traditions, living traditions, is like Chinese Mahayana and Tibetan Vajrayana, Tibetan Buddhism, these 2 put together, versus the Pali tradition. Pali tradition, meaning the Buddhism, what happened was that, we should know this history also. Buddhism, what happened was that at the time of the Buddha taught both the teachings meant for personal liberation and teachings meant for the Bodhisattvas. So those people, okay, tell me. Say, when the Buddha 2,500 years ago, after achieving Buddhahood, then the Buddha was traveling here and there, walking here and there, and in giving teachings. People request teachings, and people were all more in very modest form. So they go there, suddenly they meet the Buddha, followed by his, the disciples, and they see that this figure, who they don't know who that person is someone who's very radiant, very compassionate, so wise, so confident, compassionate, so wise, seen very different. So, okay, then go there and then say, oh, I have this problem in the family. Venerable Sir, please teach me how to get rid of this problem. Then the Buddha gives teachings. Then again the Buddha lives, again and somebody comes, oh, Venerable Sir, you seem to be a wise person. I have this problem. Please teach me how to handle this. Then again, oh, my son is behaving not nicely. So please, how can I counsel him? Please. And then again on another occasion, oh, Venerable Sir, you seem to be so wise. We have a conflict between the two villages, right? So how to solve this problem? Okay, tell me. Buddha met so many of these people. Of these people, tell me, how many of them requested Buddha to help him solve the conflicts of the whole village and the town, and how many of them they requested to solve the problems of their family? Tell me. Which is more in number? Family is much more personal. I'm in problem. My family's problem. My son, my daughter, my this, my that. Innumerable. Whereas talking about somebody who's taking charge of the whole village, whole town, is so less. So somebody who takes charge of the whole village, working, thinking about the village, thinking about the town, these people are known as the Bodhisattva practitioners, Mahayana practitioners. Those who say, I have a problem, these follow Shravaka and Pradika Buddha traditions, right? So the teachings meant to help the individual people, they fall under the category of what is today known as the teachings in the Pali tradition. Whereas those teachings who are meant to benefit the all sentient beings, that came to be known as Mahayana teaching. Today, the Buddhism in Sanskrit tradition. Right? This is how the Buddhism is split into two. Okay, with this in mind, this is one way. Now, with this, more precisely, what is happening is between, now here, stanza 40 down. So discussion is particularly between Prasangika on the one hand and the non-Prasangikas. All the other Buddhist traditions on the other hand, between these two. And somewhere in between, there's a discussion about the Mahayana Sutras and the Hinayana Sutras, right? There's a discussion happening. Okay, so the first stanza, liberation occurs through seeing the truth. What is the use of seeing emptiness? Okay, these two lines set by the non-Prasangika traditions. Non-Prasangika traditions in one camp and Prasangika in one camp. So these two are having a debate. This is one debate. So in between you will see another debate between the Mahayana Sutras and the debate between advocates of the Mahayana Sutras and the advocates of the, still not digested, advocates of the Mahayana Sutras and the advocates of the Hinayana Sutras. There's a debate happening. So this is a mixture of the two, right? So we will tease apart what is what. The first two lines of stanza 40, first two lines are the position of the non-Prasangika philosophers, non-Prasangika practitioners and philosophers. So what they say is that liberation occurs, liberation meaning arahatship, freedom from samsara. Liberation from samsara occurs through seeing the truth. Truth here referring to Four Noble Truths, as Four Noble Truths as advocated by the Four Noble Truths as taught in the first turning of wheel of Dharma. As taught in the first turning of wheel of Dharma. Okay, do you remember how the Buddha taught the first turning of wheel of Dharma? What's the difference? So in what way it is a little different? The Buddha taught the Four Noble Truths as the main subject of the first turning of wheel of Dharma. So what is something unique about this turning wheel of Dharma? Yes, the Buddha taught that the Four Noble Truths, taken for granted that the Four Noble Truths exist truly, exist objectively, exist independently, right? So this unique thing. So what they are saying is that liberation can occur through seeing the truth, Four Noble Truth, on the basis, Four Noble Truth. To see the Four Noble Truth, you have to see selflessness, right? Which selflessness? Of the five which we did. Which are the five? Which are the five levels of selflessness which we did? Hey, the five levels of selflessness. Selflessness, permanent, unitary, independent self. Selflessness, autonomous, substantial reality. Selflessness, external reality. Selflessness of true existence, what not rejecting objective existence, and finally the selflessness of objective existence. Okay, this is fine. Of the five, the lower schools, for them, what they believe, what they think, what they advocate is that for somebody to achieve nirvana, just nirvana, not Buddhahood, for somebody to achieve nirvana, for somebody to achieve freedom from samsara, one has to understand the second level of the selflessness. What is that? Selflessness of autonomy. Say fully. Don't say the half. If you say half, you're going to go wrong, right? Selflessness of autonomous substantial reality. Don't say autonomous substantial reality. Autonomous substantial reality is to be negated. It's not to be cognized, right? So what you have to say is selflessness of autonomous substantial reality. Okay. So the lower schools, all lower schools except for Prasangika keep aside, all Buddhist schools would say that to achieve nirvana, if you practice this one, selflessness of autonomous substantial reality, if you practice this, it will take you to nirvana. You don't have to practice the higher levels of the selflessness. Number 3, number 4, number 5, they're all just irrelevant. You don't need them. This is what the lower schools say. You're getting it? Now Prasangika say that no, not only for Buddhahood, even for nirvana, even for achieving freedom from samsara, you must have to have the understanding of the selflessness in the context of the fifth one. What is the fifth one? Selflessness of objective existence. Okay. Say, Prasanga is saying that if you don't understand this, simply by understanding the second level of selflessness, you will not be liberated. You're getting it? So now, the first two lines are the position of which camp? Lower schools are the Prasangika. So what this is, liberation from samsara occurs, can happen through seeing the Four Noble Truths pertaining to the second level of the selflessness. Second level of the selflessness, right? Four Noble Truths on the basis of understanding the second level of the selflessness, on the basis of understanding the selflessness of autonomous substantial reality. If you understand this, if you keep meditating on this, then you will follow Gate, Paragate, Parasamgate, and Bodhisattva of the Shravaka and Pratika Buddha, and you will be liberated. This is what the lower schools say. So they say, what is the use of seeing emptiness? Why should you have to see the emptiness of objective existence? No need. Right? Okay. Oh, this is a nice mug. Hey, I'm joking. Right? when I say this, people seriously take it very literally and then bring more mugs. Right? When I talk about the cheesecakes, people bring cheesecakes. Anyway, thank you. I should be grateful. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Oh, this mug is so nice. I want to have one for myself, right? Okay. When I look at how much it costs, I need $1 million. right? But then I struggle to get $1 million. I struggle to get $1 million. How much this costs? Not even $10, right? So to put so much effort to accumulate $1 million is just redundant. It's waste of your energy. If you want this, just get $10, finish. Or 20, at the most $20. And buy it, you get it. You don't have to exert that amount of years and years and years, 10 years, 20 years. I don't know, even in 20 years you get $1 million, I'm not too sure, right? But $20 is very easy. So therefore, they are saying that why should you have to waste so much of time seeing emptiness? Just see the selflessness or autonomous substantial reality, practice it, and you will achieve nirvana very easily. Why do you have to, spend a lot of time, emptiness? Why should you have to do this? Right? This is the argument. Okay, let me read the first two lines again. Liberation occurs through seeing the truth. What do you mean the truth here? The truth, Four Noble Truths pertaining to which selflessness? Pertaining to the selflessness of autonomous substantial reality. You don't have to see the emptiness. You just see the selflessness of autonomous substantial reality. You practice Four Noble Truths. This will take you to nirvana, right? So emptiness is just redundant. No need to go for this. This is what the lower schools say. Look, this is a very serious debate going on in Nalanda Monastic University. These are all these people. They are the great saints, scholars, right? Not dry scholars plus practitioners, highly accomplished practitioners, right? Okay. So if this is how much they put effort there, and in this, who are involved? R.N. Nagarjuna involved, Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra involved, Acharya Chandragiri involved, all these enlightened beings were involved, right? So therefore it is not easy. So to meet with the dharma, to meet with the wisdom of emptiness is so precious for us. You getting it? Okay. So, line 3. Why? Because in scripture it's proclaimed that without this path there is no enlightenment. Okay, now the response given by Bodhisattvacharyāvatāra. Response is given in two ways. Response in what two ways? One from the scriptural point of view, and the other reasoning point of view. Right? Both sides. Right? With the scripture, people will trust you. With the reasoning, common sense, the wise people will be convinced. So, reasoning and the scripture both. Okay, we'll stop here for a short break. We'll come back at 4 o'clock. Okay, 3 prostrations.